Before I begin this episode, I wanted to say a few words about Mitten Squad. He was an absolute hero and icon for me, and I wouldn't be making this kind of content, if any content at all, without him. He was gone too soon, and I hope his family and friends can grieve properly. Rest in peace, Paul.
It's time to finish the fight. We've used this weapon in 2 campaigns already, and now we see if you can complete the original trilogy with only one half of the noob combo. It's time to find out. Can you beat Halo 3 with only the plasma pistol? We begin our challenge in a Kenyan jungle where Master Chef fell from space. Big Johnson and Arby's, we have the meats, are trying to make sure this big green moron doesn't fall into the hands of the Covenant. We get up, and it's a very short walk to our first combat encounter, where Arby's manages to take out a grunt so we can get a weapon. Let's just get this out of the way now. I'm pretty sure the plasma pistol in this game is just as bad as it was in Halo 2, which is really bad. Halo CE definitely had the best iteration so far. However, since we will have NPC allies for most levels involving the Covenant, this weapon is actually rather effective at stripping the big monkeys of their armor for our allies to finish off with their human weapons, which are better on flesh. Another big bonus is that dual wielding makes an appearance once more, which we immediately start taking advantage of. We take our newfound weapon and begin moving forward, and this level is fairly easy with no real challenges because we just have so many Marine allies. We then eventually get our first section where Bungie decides to interrupt my game for the first time out of, I shit you not, I counted, 37 times. I don't know how anyone at Bungie decided this was an okay thing to do. I don't even mind if Halo 3 would be like 3 hours long without it. I just hate being interrupted during gameplay. In fact, Cortana asks if I could sacrifice her to complete my mission, and I tell her without hesitation, yes. After this game, yes. After that, we keep going through the jungle until we see 2 pelicans crash, one of which contains Big Johnson, so we must go rescue him. We take our allies past the industrial area into a narrow canyon with jackal snipers raining down on us. And thank God they only have carbines. This would be a nightmare if they had beam rifles. We then make it to the crash site where Big Johnson has already been captured. We then see a brute chieftain putting him in a cell, so we spring the trap, and thankfully, we can deal with the chieftain with little to no issues due to our allies, but these guys will be an extreme hazard later on. We then load up on the Pelican and go home to our base, which is immediately attacked by the Covenant because we're playing a video game. We leave the room, go down a few hallways, and then watch a warthog get blown up because the driver doesn't know which pedal makes you go forward. This will not be the last time that Marines suck at driving in this playthrough. We are able to gather 2 plasma pistols and head to the hangar, where we attempt to figure out how to use equipment, like the deployable cover. I then figure out that the button is shift on the PC, just so you know. Eventually, we are told to go back to the main briefing room, and we hear a bunch of drones in the vents, which is very sus. We then are confronted by a large amount of insects, and this is the only enemy on which the plasma pistol is actually viable. We manage to take them out and head back to the briefing room where Big Johnson and Commander Woman have rigged up a bomb to take out the whole base. We are then forced into the loading docks where, unbeknownst to me, my friends close the door behind me. Not cool, guys. We then try to take out the brutes in this area, but it turns out that the Hammer Chieftain is super tanky, and when he corners me, I have my first death of the run. On the next attempt, I decide to just run away and jump down the Cortana hole, which isn't as fun as it sounds. There are more sussy drones hiding in the vents here, but we kill them for their plasma pistols and link up with Arby's so we can get his meats. We rescue a few Marines in the barracks until we run into another chieftain, which my allies struggle to take down, and we eventually just run past him as well. We then run to the elevator and head up to the landing pad where we have some problems. See, we start this fight with only 1 plasma pistol and it only has 10% charge. We still had 6% at the end of my first attempt, but the Pelican would not come to pick up the guys. I then started jumping around looking for enemies, and then fell to my death. On the second attempt, I realized that the last brute was hiding on top of an observation platform, and I had to bring Arby over to the elevator in order for him to get a shot. This then caused him to jump down and get killed by the Marines. After that, we go grab replacement weapons from the drones following us, but I fall off the platform again and have to redo the section. Thankfully, this time is easy, and we can head back into the base to rearm the bomb. We are unfortunately alone as we head back through the base, but there's no shortage of grunts and jackals to offer their ammo to me. As soon as we make it back to the op center, we rearm the bomb and make a mad dash for the exit in the hangar bay, and Crow's Nest is done. We then wake up from the elevator in the garage, where we decide to take the transport Warthog as opposed to the machine gun one. We then roll up to the gate of the base, grab a plasma pistol and 2 more Marines, and then head back out into Kenya. Our 4 passengers managed to do some good work on the drive up until we get to the point where we need to dismount. We jump out of the Warthog, continue on foot until we reach a holdout section where I make the genius play of giving a fuel rod cannon to one of the Marines. The Marines and I managed to hold the line even against a chieftain who is also armed with a fuel rod cannon. And this is the second chieftain we managed to actually take out instead of running away from him. The fuel rod guy also takes out a wraith that we keep disabling with our charged plasma pistols. I then thought we were going to get a Gauss hog, but instead it was just a normal one. The next one they drop is just another transport hog, and my disappointment at not having my favorite kind of warthog leads me to accidentally flipping my warthog, and then we are attacked by wraiths. In our first attempt, we keep using the transport hog, which works well on the choppers, but the wraiths manage to flip us over the edge of the road, which we are not able to recover from. We then decide to take the normal warthog, but the Marines' AI is completely brain dead. So we get hit a couple more times before they finally figure out how to get on the gun. Once they hop on, the fuel rod guy then helps us destroy the wraiths and choppers, letting us drive past and head into the final section of the level, where a brute chieftain EMPs us and we get flipped over. Now that we were out of the vehicle, I used my plasma pistol to strip most of their brutes of their armor, and then the Marines helped us clear out the enemies, including a clutch grenade throw to drop the chieftain. After that, we move on to the Storm, which I think has grown on me to be my second favorite level in this whole game. We hop off the hog and open the door for our Marines to get a kill, which gives us a plasma pistol. I then tried to drive the Warthog, but the Marines refused to open the door for us, so we had to go and do it ourselves and go on foot to the next section. We then mow through the hallway into the next area, where we hop on the Warthog and have to take out 2 wraiths. Our Marine gunner comes in clutch as we head into yet another room where Marines don't know how to open doors. But the difference is that the Marines were already on the other side with a machine gun, so we lure Brute Chieftain into its line of fire. After he goes down and we deal with some more drones, it's time for my favorite section of the entire level. First, we hop on a mongoose, peep the gold trim by the way, with a Marine carrying the Spanker rocket launcher. His name is Spanker Simon. But he refuses to use it until we get closer to the enemy, which causes us to flip over. After we help the Marines take out the AA wraiths and Spanker Simon takes out some other vehicles, we get a really fun surprise. A scarab which we have to fight on our mongoose. We ride around the scarab, getting lasered a few times and almost getting stepped on once or twice. But Spanker Simon finally takes out one of the legs. His accuracy is so bad though. But from there, instead of boarding it, we shoot it in the weak spot by bunny hopping and shooting it with our plasma pistol. After the scarab goes down, we get to the part where a bunch of brutes are fighting a bunch of warehouse workers, and since they're only carrying pistols, we spend a lot of time rearming them before 2 hunters come in and absolutely obliterate the warehouse workers. It is at this point where we get murked by a brute chieftain and are knocked back to the beginning of this section, and we're able to give them shotguns this time. However, the hunters get wise and shoot a fusion core, which kills 4 of our workers and almost kills me. After that, we rearm the survivors and go out to face the chieftain, and we get killed again. That hammer is no joke. 3rd time's the charm. We head back out with our kill squad, and the chieftain then uses his invincibility power-up, and When we finally defeat him, I'm actually able to kill, steal, and score the final shot. We then go for a ride on a brute's back as our Marines come help us in the final section, where we actually find a sniper rifle to give to one of our Marines, thus giving us cover as me and the boys push up to the AA gun, and I realize that I don't have to kill the enemies, so I can just shoot the core to win the level. We then begin the next level, and a problem arises. There are no plasma pistols in this level. None at all. I'm sure some might spawn somewhere, but I literally could not get any to spawn. So this was going to be very difficult. Except for the fact that you can just run past every enemy in this entire level and make it to the end without killing anyone. It took me about 7 minutes. On to the next level. For the arc, obviously the best move is to give our sniper rifle to one of the ODSTs. I then charge into the first combat section, waiting for one of the boys to take out a grunt or jackal so I can rearm myself. We then pick up 2 plasma pistols and can find another sniper rifle to give to our crew. However, our friends struggle to put them to use and we have to do most of the job ourselves. After the screaming and crying was over, we then crossed into another firefight with more Covenant and Hunters where, thankfully, our backup actually did some backing up and we got through with little issue. We then headed into a doorway and outside, and we got to use one of my favorite vehicles in the series, and one that I wish they brought back. We hop on a Prowler, and having 2 sniper rifles plus 1 plasma turret really does make the rest of this encounter very easy. We crossed over into the landing site and had to take out 2 anti-air wraiths, and because the ODSTs wouldn't use their damn anti-material rifles to shoot through materials, this takes a little longer than you'd think. A normal blue wraith kills one of our snipers, but we're able to finish it off and bring in the frigate. As the Forward Unto Dawn gives birth to smaller vehicles, we get the pick of the litter and take a Scorpion, even though we cannot use the main gun. Our allies still do a perfectly serviceable job clearing out our enemies until we get on a Ghost and run away to the second to last outdoor section, where we are set to fight multiple wraiths and shade turrets. When I head back to the tanks, I find out that both Marine drivers managed to get their Scorpions stuck. I then unstick them and help them head to the battlefield once more. Our Marines insist on not driving since they did such a poor job before, so I force them into the driver's seat by getting in the turret. This allows them to actually do their job, kind of, so I engage one of the wraiths until I run out of ammo. I go and find another plasma pistol while our tanks struggle to hit their targets, so I must fight a different wraith alone until I finally lose patience and take the Prowler once more, giving my Marine a rocket launcher to use against our enemies. This deals with the first wraith, and I realize that the second doesn't have a driver, so it's an easy fix. The third one goes down just like the first, and we head inside to let our troops across the energy bridge. It is at this point that we are set to fight another scarab with a Gauss Hog, manned by the inimitable Chip Stubbo. Unfortunately, we are flipped over by the scarab's main gun, and our Warthog gets gored by a chopper, killing us both. Next time, Chips and I hang out on top of a ramp where he can snipe several of the vehicles below, up until we jump off the ramp and into the fray. We clear out the first line and can bring in the Scorpions, which means it's time to fight the Scarab again. This time, instead of getting murdered by the beam, we plant ourselves right underneath the beast and narrowly avoid getting squished until Chips takes out the leg and we can hop on to hit the power core. After that, we head up the stairs into the enemy tower and begin fighting our way to the ending, taking out one chieftain on the way to the final fight. In this arena-like setting, it's our 2 plasma pistols up against a hammer chieftain with multiple jetpack brutes. The hammer guy kills both of our Marines while taking hundreds of shots from our pistols before finally succumbing. I then begin to worry that I would run out of ammo when I realized that there were also some jackal snipers carrying replacements for our depleted weapons. With those, we defeated the enemy and were able to finish the mission and move on to my favorite level in any Halo game. We begin this mission by trading the Spartan laser to an ODST, and he makes short work of just about everything except the anti-air wraith, which he refuses to shoot for some reason. After I deal with it for him, we hop in a Warthog with Splazer Guy and head for the first shield tower. Our men help us clear out the Covenant within until we head up the elevator and deal with the next Hammer Guy. However, he turns out to be so tanky that we literally run out of ammo before he decides to accept the sweet embrace of oblivion. We then revert to last checkpoint and clear out the ground floor once more, this time using a strategy where we stockpile replacement plasma pistols on the elevator for us to use if we ran out of ammo. I know. I'm a genius. Except actually I'm not, because I managed to hop on one of the elevated little ramps just out of Hammer Guy's reach, and out of frustration, he decides to just stand there and accept his fate as we shoot him over and over until he finally dies. We then watch as Johnson can't even handle his one fucking job and not only fails to take out the last tower, he also gets himself captured. We then head back downstairs and re-obtain our Spartan laser, since I think we will need it for later. We then head back outside where I find a floating brute shot, and we head back to the beach on our Gucci mongoose. We board a Hornet and give our passenger the Splazer, and the new Splazer Guy takes out the anti-air wraiths for us until we leave him at the base of the tower as we head in to take it out. There are several brutes, including a fuel rod chieftain down on the ground floor, which I tried to lure over to Splazer Guy, but they killed him instead. I pick up the weapon he was unworthy of, and then kill a couple more brutes before heading into the ground floor. I left the chieftain alive and saw that there were dozens of drones and 2 hunters inside, and I decided to just book it to the top floor, where only one drone is trapped following me. I am then confronted by invisible monkeys and a plasma cannon chieftain. This first attempt I had to reset because I ran out of ammo, but thankfully on the second I am able to finish him with the drone's pistol and some replacements in a pod that I didn't notice before. After that, we are ambushed by Flood, and these pistols are pretty much useless except on infection forms, which die upon contact with my shields anyway. After the elevator stops, we are attacked by the hunters we didn't kill before. We then ran out to the landing site where some reinforcements had landed, including my favorite kind of Warthog. I then forgot to give my passenger the Spartan laser, but it's fine because who cares. We then drive out to the area before the control room, where my gunner is much more effective than previous ones, cutting through all resistance to the point where I decide to stick with him and the Warthog, instead of using the Hornets during the double scarab fight. All things considered, this fight turned out to be fairly easy. Our gunner is very competent, it takes out one of the legs immediately, allowing us to shoot it in the core without even boarding it. The second one goes down with little difficulty as well, leaving us with only the run to and from the Prophet of Truth left in this level. Having the Flood as our allies allows us to run past the enemy mostly unscathed, and we are able to run past the Flood as well, ending the level with ease. Frankly, I wish the next level was as easy as that one was, but at this point, I'm just glad it's almost over. Cortana is the worst level in the franchise. It is even worse in this challenge. If you expected otherwise, seek psychiatric help. Thankfully, we are able to find a plasma pistol near to the beginning, so we aren't completely defenseless throughout this level. However, these green blobs are less damaging to the Flood than a literal pea shooter, so it doesn't help that much. We mostly don't shoot them because there are so many pure forms and they take a lot less damage than even the combat forms do. But thankfully, we're able to run past our foes and find the proper butthole to take us further into the level, where Cortana and Gravemind refuse to shut the fuck up. I don't know if I hate this level so much because they keep talking, or because it is designed very poorly, or both. But eventually, we continue to the room where the reactor is, and with a small amount of fighting, we push through into the room with Cortabo. We reunite with the blue E-girl and take her back with us to the reactor room, where we, 1, get knocked into the abyss, 2, are able to detonate the cores but are killed by a sword flood on the way out, and 3, use cloaking to give us time to take out the cores, then sprint to the exit, successfully completing the level. Fucking finally! After that, we start the final level, and unfortunately, this is another one where we don't find a plasma pistol. As such, we mostly dash our way up to the control room and rely on Arby's Meats and Big Johnson's Big Johnson to keep us alive. The Sentinels help too, I guess. At the top of the pyramid, we have to hold the line against the Flood while unarmed, so I decide to let myself use one auto turret because I've never seen them get a kill before, and it actually does. Good job, little guy. Yes, I know this technically fails the challenge, but I would have done more damage by myself than I would have with that turret, so give me a break. With all our allies helping us, we finally managed to clear out the rest of the flood and can go to the place where we failed the challenge for real. Blue Lightbulb gets angry and murders Big Johnson, and we don't have a plasma pistol to hurt Blue Lightbulb, not that it would if we did. We then pick up the Splazer, reduce the Blue Lightbulb to ash, and then leave to get on the Warthog. We then decide that running over infection forms wouldn't count since if they made contact with the vehicle anyway, it doesn't matter if they do so at 120 miles an hour or at a complete standstill, they still end up dying. RB easily handles everything from his machine gun turret, and we don't even have to restart from the checkpoint once. Some damn fine handiwork, if I do say so myself. We then make the jump, starting the final cutscene to prove that, no, you cannot beat Halo 3 with only the plasma pistol. Thank you all very much for watching. I know there was a bit of a hiatus on these videos due to the passing of Paul from Mitten Squad. So thank you all for coming back to watch this video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy it and you want to see more videos like it. As always, I want to thank Sonic Extreme 99 for editing this video. Go check out his content in the link down in the description. He's very funny, and I know you guys will enjoy his stuff. If you want to give video suggestions or chat with other fans, the link to my Discord server is in my link tree. If I like your suggestion, I'll make sure to give you a shout out when I make it into a video. Also in my link tree are my 2 podcasts and my social media accounts. Feel free to check those out as well. That's all for this video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next challenge.